1919 was an auspicious year in history. The First World War ended, ushering a drastic change in the world order. The Philippine Islands had been a U.S. territory for 2 decades and was promised independence under the Jones Law of 1916. Progressive reformers saw the country and its people as a major target for modernization, and education was its main weapon. 7 forward-looking Filipinas came together in 1919 to create a school where young women could gain the knowledge and skills that would make them modern women. Paz Marquez Benitez was the first president of the Philippine Women's College. Jose Abad Santos was its first chairman of the Board of Trustees. Francisca Tirona Benitez was the second president, and with her husband Dean Conrado, guided the school from a house on A. Flores Street to its iconic Taft Avenue campus. In 1932, the college became a university, making PWU the first university for women in Asia founded by Asians. It provided a space where innovations in education flourished, and young people were encouraged to be the best that they could be. For over 100 years, the Philippine Women's University has been known as a leader in quality education. In 1934, PWU moved into its main campus on Taft Avenue, and since the 1970s has been co-educational. Located in the heart of Metro Manila, it is easily accessible by public transport and surrounded by affordable housing. Today's PWU offers undergraduate and graduate courses in several fields of study. Its business and management programs are responsive to the needs of industry, using evolving technology for global competence. PWU graduates excel in arts and sciences, education, social work, and diplomacy. Its fine arts and music programs have produced outstanding graduates through a holistic education that treasures heritage as well as excellence. PWU has pioneered in fields such as food science, nutrition and dietetics, medical technology, pharmacy, and nursing. PWU continues to play an essential role in producing graduates who possess the skills that make them competitive in the country and anywhere in the world.
We are a united community.
We may not be blood related,
but we Patriots are one big family.
Being part of the PWU community strengthens us.
Through the years, we support each other through good times and bad times.
We Patriots always have each other's back.
It's a big honor to be part of a community that is open to the ideas of each other.
Drives us to excel and be the best version of ourselves.
That's the standard of excellence that we Patriots strive for.
I'm thankful that this community lets us be who we want to be.
We thrive because we accept each other for who we are.
And like a family, we treat each other equally.
Actually, PWU gave us a home and helped us to be a patriot in society.
We may have different individual drums and instruments,
but we march with the same beat together as one united community.
Do you want to march with our community of patriots?
I am a patriot.
I am a patriot.
I am a patriot. I am a patriot.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is my pleasure to be the MC for today's webinar. My name is Andrew Kevin Nicanor, and together with our peer facilitator and my co-MC, Lanier de Guzman, on behalf of the Guidance Counseling and Testing Office, I would like to extend my warm welcome to all of you. As young people spend increasing amount of time online in the midst of pandemic, their social lives and emotional well-being become increasingly entrenched in the digital world. As they enter through different life stages, their self-confidence, friendship issues, communication, and well-being can be challenging for them. For today's webinar, we will be presenting a different set of social skills needed in order to build bridges among other people.
Today's transformative learning system, entitled Building Bridges, a social skills webinar series about self-confidence, effective communication, and friendship, is led by the Guidance, Counseling, and Testing Office, in coordination with Campus Life, PWU Peers, ICT, and Multimedia Center. The target transformative learning system core values today focus on well-being as we note the importance of social, mental, and emotional health of the students. I also humbly remind our dear students that for you to receive e-certificates, please make sure to answer our evaluation forms. Please click the Google Forms link. You may use QR code provided at the end of the webinar. A few reminders for our program. All questions will be entertained in the question and answer portions of our program. You may type your questions at the chat box when the Q&A starts.
To formally begin our program, please join us with our video prayer and followed by the national anthem.
Wonderful, the puso sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, duyat ka ng magiting, sa manlulupig, di ka pasisiin, sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mong bukaw, may dilagang tulat, awit sa paglayang minamahal, ang kisap ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na nagtitinig, ang bituin at araw niya kailan pa may di magdidinig, lupa ng araw ng walpatid pagsintamoy langit sa piling mo, aming ligaya na pag may mga aming ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
To officially welcome us to our program, it is an honor and privilege to have our AVP for Campus Life, who is also an advocate of wellness, Dr. Susie Benitez, to open our program with meaningful remarks.
Good morning, everyone. I warmly welcome you to this seminar on building bridges, building your self-esteem, social skills, relationships. Once again, I would like to congratulate Ms. Christine Meron and her team for coming up with this kind of projects to help build a community of students who will be confident to pursue their professional careers. Not only that, I would like to say thank you to all of you who are here attending this seminar. As they say, confident people continue to jump into opportunities for them to learn and grow. People who are weak will always say, I know that already, and I won't have time to listen. So now, I would like to say thank you to all of you who are here, who will continue your efforts and take advantage of every opportunity to enrich yourselves. Relationships, very important. Professionalism, very important for your future careers. Because in the corporate world, they would always say, no amount of expertise can compensate for your inability to get along with people. And many things go into this. Your attitude towards life, your attitude towards others, and your attitude towards the betterment of yourself. As they say, always reinvent. Become a better you from who you were yesterday. So once again, I would like to say thank you very much, Guidance and Counseling Office. And to all of you who are here, enjoy this seminar, enrich yourselves, and sure, continue to grow. Thank you, and have a very pleasant morning.
Thank you, Doc Susie, for the meaningful and wonderful remarks.
For the first part of our program, it is my pleasure to introduce to you our resource speakers for the topic, Love Grows Where My Confidence Goes, establishing the importance of feeling comfortable with and asserting oneself. As my friend, I fondly called her Reese or Miss Reese, a graduate of dual degree of BS Psychology and BA in Guidance and Counseling at St. Scholastica College, a licensed psychometrician, and a recently graduate of master's degree in counseling at De La Salle University. Over the years, Ms. Reese had a vast experience in working in school and in corporate setting. For our second resource speaker entitled, Hey Pretty Shining People, We're All Right Together, strengthening social connection in the midst of the pandemic. I fondly call her Can or Miss Candice. She is a licensed psychometrician, a graduate of BS Psychology cum laude at St. Louis University, Baguio City, and recently completed her master's degree in counseling at De La Salle University. Over the years, Ms. Candice had a vast experience in working in schools, individuals, and groups. As of the moment, both Miss Reese and Miss Candice work as a program assistant at De La Salle University Operation Big Brother, conducting values formation, curriculum enhancement, and personal development session, where they both continues to promote their advocacy in wellness, mental health, and providing education, quality education for public schools students. Once again, everyone, let us all welcome Miss Therese Marie Araneta, and Miss Candice De Castro.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you
Yes,
very
hello.
much, Sir Andrew, for that introduction.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. There you go.
Okay. Ayan. Can we go back to that? Okay. Thank you very much. So ayan, good afternoon again, everyone. And Candice and I are very grateful for your invitation, no, sa amin. Yeah, as the title suggests, building bridges. So what we are going to do, since transformative nga daw itong session na to, yes, we are hopeful that you would participate through the comment section, wherever you may be. Yes, so near yet so far yung ating drama ngayong hapon. We are together, but you're there in Facebook or in YouTube. So please, when we are going to have a lot of like question and answers, because again, the topic about self-confidence and soft skills ito kasi it's about self-confidence and relationships and friendships and reaching out, and assertiveness later on. So it's really more of how we apply it, diba? The way we tackle it is how we are going to apply it in our everyday lives. And so we hope that you comment when we do ask your participation, ayan, so we can have some feedback. But yeah, anyways, what we're going to do is I'm going to begin with the foundation, diba? Tulad nga nung ating title, Building Bridges. We liked the title kasi we said this provided us with a good analogy of how we would go through the topics. Kasi the first part, my part, would be about discussing the self-confidence and also how important it is that we recognize it and develop it, hone it. Diba? Katulad nga po yung sa opening remarks natin, diba? We never cease to take on chances for our own self-development and betterment. That was very nice. Okay? Sige. So what we are going to do, syempre, as with any webinar, okay? Face-to-face man yan or ganito, webinar nga na online. Next slide po. We are going to have a simple icebreaker, okay? So the icebreaker will have two parts. First part would be here. You would be commenting your responses, again, either on Facebook or in YouTube. And the second part, we're going to move to Menti, okay? So, ayan. Next part po. So, yung gagawin natin, ayan, given that Miss Candice and I are very biased towards cases, okay? Kumuha po kayong counseling graduate. Anyway, so what we're going to do is we have case of Paula. So, si Maring Paula, we're gonna use her case as an anchor case for our discussion this whole afternoon. So, what we're going to do is, ayan, I'm going to read the case and I hope that you read with me. Wow. Class talaga, no? And then we are going to have questions after, no? Related to self-confidence. So we're going to have a foundation. We're going to build, diba, our bridge, and we're going to start, of course, with our own selves muna. Okay? So yeah. So ang sabi po sa case of Paula, whenever Paula's friends ask a favor from her, she finds it hard to say no. So she ends up saying yes, okay, even if her schedule is already full. So kahit ano pa ang kailangan gawin ni Maring Paula, she always says yes to her friends' favors, requests, okay, regardless of how busy she actually is. Ayan. So as a result, people end up always assuming that she will agree with whatever favors they have from her. So kung ano mang i-request sa kanila, that she would always comply. So 'di ba may movie na parang Yes Man ba yun? O, diba? So, parang siya ay yes lady. Ganyan. Okay? Yes woman. So, ganito po, since self-confidence nga, no, very simple question and answer lang. So from this case alone, we're gonna have two simple questions. So in the chat box, again, in Facebook or in YouTube, question number 1. So from the case ni Paula, no, sa tingin nyo ba, Paula showed self-confidence? From your understanding of what self-confidence is, from your understanding of what self-confidence is, was Paula able to show self-confidence in this scenario? So you can send in a smiley. Yes, para maiba. So a smiley or like a happy emoji if you agree, if your answer is yes. And then a sad face if your answer is no. So sa tingin nyo ba, nagpakita siya ng self-confidence dito sa scenario na to, no? Mag-assume tayo sa scenario na to. So sa pag-handle niya ba nung ang kanyang friend? So was she confident in this scenario? So smiley kapag yes, and then sad face kapag no. Ayan. So may nagsisend ng sad face. Ayan. They are acting. Yes. Minomonitor natin yung Facebook. So that's good. That's good. Ayan. So thank you po. Thank you for your responses. Yeah, okay. Very obviously, 'di ba? Hindi siya nakahindi. So in short, hindi confident si Paula to speak up for herself in this scenario. Ayan. So madaming sad face. Yes. Ayan. Okay. Now, thank you again for your answers. Now, what we're going to do, we're gonna have another question. So, syempre, another part, di ba sabi nga nung title ng ating talk for this afternoon, self-confidence and effective communication. So, okay, nasagot na natin na parang hindi nagpakita ng self-confidence si Paula. How about effective communication, no? Do you think na adequate or na-express niya ba na girl, sorry, busy ako. O, diba? Friend, sorry, busy ako. I actually cannot, fulfill your request. Very formal. Actually, hindi kita matutulungan today. Ganyan. So, nagawa niya bang sabihin yon? Was her communication skills adequate in this situation? Again, send a smiley if yes. If ineffective or hindi. Hindi niya na-express. Hindi niya napaliwanag yung sarili niya. Hindi siya nakahindi, in short. You send in a sad face as well. Ayan. May nag-reply pa ng thumbs down. Nope. Hindi. 100% no. Hindi niya daw. Oo. Lacking daw ang kanyang communication skills. Okay. At ito ay towards a friend na. O, diba? Ayan. So, again, no? So, from those two simple questions, we saw na number 1, Paula needs help when it comes to being more confident in expressing herself, diba? From those two questions. So what we are going to do now is we're going to move to, para mas may visualizer tayo, okay? And you can also see more clearly yung answers po ng lahat. We're going to go to Menti. We have another set of questions. So, ayan, thank you very much. So yung Menti po natin, we will have another question there. So we're gonna wait for you all to join there. Ayan. Sana po ay maka-join kayo dyan. Okay. So we're gonna ask further, no? Sa Menti, tatanungin po namin kung ano yung sa tingin nyong posibleng better way or better response maybe ni Paula sa sitwasyon na to. Okay. So kung ikaw si Paula, paano mo sasagutin yung friend mo? Okay. So again, no? Bakit ba Yes.
I'm gonna share my screen para makita natin yung sa Menti, no? Okay,
yes. Thank you, Miss Candice. Yeah.
There you go. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
So yeah, yung case ni Paula, I'm sure a lot of us can relate to this, di ba? Hingi na favor sa'yo and then di mo mahindian. Kasi close kayo, ganyan. Parang nakahiya naman. Parang namang hindi tayo friends. May mga ganun pang hirit. Para saan pa ang pagkakaibigan natin kung hindi mo ako tutulungan? Wow. Thank you sa utang na loob. Okay. Ayan. Okay. So if you were in Paula's place, how would you have reacted differently? So may mga sumasagot. Ang sabi nila, straightly say no. Because if my friend is a true friend, they will understand that I have my priorities as well. We agree, definitely, di ba? Kung ang friend mo po ay hindi kayang tumanggap ng hindi, baka and repeatedly, kapag humihindi ka, nagagalit siya or nagre-react siya negatively, o 'di ba? Red flag na 'yon. Okay. So, marami pa diyang better friends, sis. Okay. I would say no and tell them I'm busy. Yeah. Kasi yun naman yung truth, 'di ba? Yun naman yung totoo. Ano pa, Miss Candice? Ano pang mga sagot natin dyan?
Ayan. Ang ganda ng mga insights nila. Sabi dito, definitely communicate better, di ba? If I learned a thing or two in this lifetime, communication and understanding should come hand in hand. So, ang ganda na they are emphasizing the importance of properly communicating, di ba? And saying no, but doing it in a proper way, yung hindi makakasakit sa ibang tao.
Mm-hmm.
Ayan.
Which will be the
medyo
highlight.
unanimous yung mga answers ng mga students. It's all saying na I would properly tell them that no, I cannot help you as of the moment, di ba?
Yeah. So parang alam na nung ating students yung pag-uusapan natin this afternoon. So that would be all for parang basically nakita na natin kung ano yung responses nyo po, ayan, no, na ayan, may nagsabi pa, as much as I would like to offer my assistance on your request, parang email, I like it. Okay. Ayan, I still have other scheduled commitments. Totoo, di ba? We respect each other's time and effort as well. So yeah, that's a very nice response set. So what we are going to do is we're going to link. So hindi po tapon yung mga responses natin. Lahat ng sinabi nyo, yes, we agree with them because we're also going to relate our discussion later with all of your responses. So andyan na yung meat ng discussion natin later sa mga sagot niya. We have another question. Ayan, Miss Candice.
Yes. Ito naman, another question that we want to ask from you. Ito. Ayan. So we've been talking kanina about yung sa case ni Paula, 'di ba? About how you would have reacted differently, kung meron ba siyang enough self-confidence or naka-express niya ba yung thoughts niya properly. This time naman, we want to hear your insights. Ano ba para sa inyo ang mga qualities na makakapagsabi na healthy ang isang relationship? Diba? We're also going to tackle social connections later on. So, para sa inyo ba, gusto lang namin makita yung insights nyo. Ano ba sa tingin nyo ang mga qualities na dapat meron ang isang healthy relationship? Ayan, meron tayong word cloud na na-generate right now. And ang mga lumalabas ay may trust, honesty, communication, respect for each other, which was also highlighted earlier sa mga responses nyo when you were asked about how you would react differently. Ang daming mga qualities na lumalabas. We have understanding, faithfulness, yes, being trustworthy, mutual respect, yes. Yes, keep it coming. So as you can see, no, we have different insights as to what makes a relationship healthy, and we want to thank you for sharing, of course, itong mga insights nyo. And later on, we're going to go back to this, no. We're going to look closely at what would make a relationship stronger despite, these circumstances that we are in. So maraming salamat sa mga nagsisend ng insights nyo. We appreciate it. Babalikan namin yan later on. So ayun, that's the first activity that we have. And kung babalikan natin, no, yung case ni Paula, it seems like a very ordinary case na parang something that we can encounter on a daily basis, no. I'm sure as students, 'di ba, one way or another we have experienced this, na as simple as nanghihingi ng isang favor ang isang classmate, and then ikaw, you would be torn as to how you would react, 'di ba? And syempre, ikaw gusto mong makatulong din, but at the same time you have personal things also that you need to attend to. And when we encounter these situations, minsan ang dali-dali for us to take it for granted na parang, sige, ngayon lang naman, oo ako. So, ginawa mo. And then, the following time na may nag-ask ulit sa'yo, you would say yes because you have that mindset, di ba? And pag nagpatong-patong yun, if that type of reaction keeps going, in the long run, pwede siyang magkaroon ng impact on us, diba? These seemingly ordinary situations that we take for granted, hindi natin alam could actually either foster or limit our growth as individuals. And so it's very important and very timely that we discuss the importance of, being confident with yourself, making sure that you get to express your opinions properly while still being able to respect the other person's perspective. And that's what Miss Reese is going to talk about on the first part of this talk. So Miss Reese, take it away.
Yes,
Let
we're
me
gonna.
stop sharing my screen na so that we could go back to the original PowerPoint. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Maraming salamat, Miss Candice. Taking it away. Okay. Ayan. Ayan. Um, ayun na nga, no? So, again, as I mentioned earlier, we are going to have a two-part talk. Ayan. Kasi, again, my part would be about the foundation, no? Sana hindi natin naririnig yung ingay dito. Okay. My part would be about the foundation, meaning about ourselves, no? Discovering the importance again of in time for the love month. Ayan. So, if napapansin niyo po, medyo mahahaba kasi yung aming mga title. Tataka kayo, ano ba yan? It's too wordy. So, yung love grows where my confidence goes para sa mga TikTokers natin dyan. Ito ay, TikTokers kasi si Miss Candice. Okay, na-discover niya. We just switch it up a little, but it's actually from a song, di ba? Pero very, bagay siya, very timely siya sa discussion natin on self-confidence because what we wanted to highlight was lahat naman regarding lahat ng aspects when it comes to ourselves, again, our own betterment and development. It all starts with, 'di ba, self-love and self-care, 'di ba? And so when you actively choose to develop or have a better sense of self-confidence, then that's also another way for you to show self-love, 'di ba? Or to practice self-love. So what we are going to do again is we're going to start with our foundation for our building bridges, o, 'di ba? So this is our foundation for our building. Ayan. So yung first part is love grows where my confidence goes, establishing the importance of feeling comfortable with and asserting oneself. Okay. So ayan, next slide po. Kanina pa natin pinaulit-ulit, ano po ba ang ibig sabihin ng self-confidence? So, Mr. Reese, grabe naman. Ano bang sabi ni Maring Merriam-Webster dyan? But yeah, basically, yung self-confidence kasi, bago natin i-define, no? Ito ay deeply rooted sa ating, syempre, alam naman natin 'tong lahat, 'di ba? Lalo na kung may mga psych tayo dito, we have our peer fasces here, right? So alam naman natin yan students, pag-aralan niyo yan in Psych 101 na you are a product of your, syempre, ayan na tayo sa mga nature nurture. So you have your personality traits, andyan yung ugali mo. So you have yung ugali mo and then you have also kung ano yung mga values, skills as well na natututunan mo when you are in your home, when you are in school, when you are at work for those who are already working po na audience natin, right? And so, when it comes to self-confidence, in the same way na yung iba nating soft skills, 'di ba, na nade-develop, yung self-confidence din, kailangan din siyang i-practice. 'Di ba? Kailangan din siyang i-hone, kailangan din siyang i-develop. Because as we have seen in Paula's case earlier, 'di ba? We can assume mga assumer pala. We can safely assume na at least for our sample case, no, maybe kaya nahihirapan si Paula to express herself properly, effectively, 'di ba? Yun yung hina-highlight natin kanina. The reason why she was not able to communicate herself as openly to her own friends na was because, sige, one factor could be that yung trait niya is she is shy, okay? But maybe another is that maybe Paula also comes from a place or an environment that did not allow her to speak her mind, diba? That did not allow her to express her thoughts and her ideas. So, even when nandun na siya sa labas of her home, nandun na siya sa circle of friends niya na dapat very comfortable siya, 'di ba, sa kanyang sarili, very open and confident siya in expressing herself, hindi niya pa rin nagagawa. Okay? So, yun yung, this is really just us highlighting on the fact na kailangan natin, 'di ba, i-develop again and i-exercise yung ating self-confidence because if we do not, 'di ba, Paula was lucky na lang na kaibigan niya yung nanghihingi ng favor. Paano kapag we are already working, 'di ba? Like us ngayon. So paano kapag sa work kasi kung sa school merong mga we call it pasaload, 'di ba? So kung sa school merong mga pasaload or like may mga freeloaders, ganyan, 'di ba? Na talagang kapag may group work, 'di ba? Ikaw yung leader, so ikaw na yung gumagawa, sila wala silang gagawa. ML lang sila ganyan. Okay? So, syempre sa work may ganun din. So, what if you still do not you do not have, hindi mo pa rin na-practice well enough, na hone well enough yung iyong skill, no? Itong iyong self-confidence, yung skill on being assertive. Eh di, ganun din. In the same way that Paula responded to her friends, yes ka din. Yes ka lang ng yes. Tatanggap ka lang ng tatanggap ng work even if you're already so busy already. 'Di ba? So, ayan. So, next slide po. So, when we say self-confidence, no? You are an individual who is confident, who knows your strengths and your weaknesses, 'di ba? Aware ka kung ano yung iyong kayang gawin, aware ka kung ano yung need mo pa, no? Points pa for development again. And knowing your strengths and weaknesses, you trust your own judgment, 'di ba? So kaya mong sabihin na, teka, kung ako si Paula, right? Teka, marami akong gagawin, kaya ko naman mag-multitask. O, di ba? Magaling naman ako dyan. Kaya ko naman, yung pinapagawa sa akin ng friend ko, yung favor ng friend ko, kaya ko naman siya gawin. But also, I also know, di ba, myself na mapapagod ako. Or, di ba, parang hindi naman, I don't need to exert naman or push myself to work so hard kung alam ko naman that I can say no. 'Di ba? So when you are a person who has self-confidence, you are able to trust your own judgment. Meron kang clear and rational evaluation of what you can or cannot do, 'di ba? And this is something that we do on a daily basis, 'di ba? And yung self-confidence, since alam mo nga your strengths, alam mo nga your weaknesses, you become more comfortable also with your abilities, 'di ba? Na in the same way, kapag meron kang points for improvement, then you are open as well, 'di ba? Na for feedback from other people. So hindi ka din naman ma-hurt, no? When you receive comments for improvement. Ganyan. Okay. So on a daily basis, next slide please. How do we practice self-confidence? So how do we check, no? Hindi natin siya namamalayan, but actually we are already in whatever we do. Like for example, right now, 'di ba? Ako nagsasalita and Miss Candice later is nagsasalita, Sir Andrew and Miss Lanier, 'di ba? Our hosts for today, may skills kaming ginagamit. So communication skills din ito, 'di ba? So bago namin 'to ginagawa subconsciously, syempre tatanungin namin sa sarili namin, "Wait lang, do I have the skills to do this?" So even by just asking ourselves this question, natatanong na natin, "Ay, confident ba ako dito sa gagawin ko?" Kasi nga again, confidence is about knowing kung ano yung kaya mong gawin at yung hindi mo kaya gawin, 'di ba? So, yan. So, do I have the skills to do this? But syempre, hindi lang yun yung i-impart natin this afternoon na strategy, right? Or na tip. So later on, we will be breaking down specific soft skills, specific social skills rather, ayan, na pwede nating i-harness, na pwede nating i-develop, all for us to be more confident, all for us to have a better sense of self-confidence. Okay? Yan. So for the first soft skill, ayan. Okay. Naririnig ba? Hindi naman. Okay. Yan. So for the first soft skill, next slide please. We are going to start our discussion with assertiveness. Okay. So ayan. Miss Reese, another term, no? We have self-confidence and then we have assertiveness. So later on po, same with case of Paula, magkakaroon pa tayo ng tatlo pang scenario. And meron pang scenario kay Miss Candy. So marami. Marami tayong kasama sa discussion natin ngayong hapon na ito. Marami po tayong guest. Okay, naka-mic po kasi tayo. So ayan, marami tayong guest from all stations. So uunahin natin si assertiveness kasi this is what Paula needed actually to develop, 'di ba? Mostly for her situation. Ano po yung assertiveness? Yung assertiveness, hindi po yun na sumisigaw ka ha. Kasi parang minsan kapag narinig mo yung assertive, parang, alam mo yun, parang very nanduduro, parang ganon. Very angry yung tunog, di ba, ng word. Pero hindi siya yon. When you are assertive, you are able to express yourself effectively, 'di ba? You are able to communicate kung ano yung rights mo, kung ano yung needs mo, kung how others should be treating you, and stand up for your point of view without, the second part is, without limiting na kailangan mo ding respetuhin yung views, yung rights, yung beliefs ng ibang tao. Okay? So, what we're gonna do is, we're gonna share 7 tips. Ayan. So, may 7 tips po dyan. Ayan. So, yung una daw is assess your style. Okay? So, we're gonna continue with the assess your style later. Kasi yung style daw, yung communication style, meron pala tayong tatlo. When it comes to communication, meron tayong tatlong primary. Okay? When we say communication style, so kapag nakikipag-usap ka sa ibang tao, in relation to assertiveness ha, tapos may kailangan ka dun sa tao. Okay? Um, it's either you are assertive, or you are passive, or you are aggressive. So, meron kang passive, aggressive, and assertive. Okay? Meron pang ibang types yan. No? Pag nagbasa tayo online, may mga combinations pa yan. But at least for this session, we're gonna talk about 3 and kung bakit important that we practice assertiveness. Okay. But yeah, we're gonna talk about that later. So, assess your style. Pangalawa, use I statements. So, paano mo daw madadevelop yung assertiveness? And assertiveness again helps us to, 'di ba? To be more open, to be more confident in our communication, to be more open and confident in our relationships, 'di ba? Na again hindi tayo natitaken advantage of. To be more open and confident as well in our work, 'di ba? Ganun din. Ganun din yung purpose. Hindi din tayo alam mo 'yun, napapasahan lang na work, or we can also stand up since it is related rather to self-confidence. Kapag assertive ka sa work, then you are also someone who can bravely, 'di ba? Initiate na, uy, ako po kaya ko pong gawin 'yan. Okay, 'di ba? But also you can also say no kapag hindi mo na kayang gawin because you're busy, you have other responsibilities. So, it goes both ways. It goes for initiative, and it also goes for when you have to say no. Ayan. So, going back, yung using I statements, okay? Ito po, very practical, very important. Syempre, so Filipinos kasi, we have this tendency, ako personally guilty ako dito. Like, kapag may sasabihin tayo na, kunyari kung going back to the case of Paula ha, 'di ba? Ang dapat na pinagpipilitan natin, 'di ba? Yung mga comments natin kanina, Paula dapat nag-no na lang. Sabihin niya na busy siya, sabihin niya na hindi niya kayang gawin, may ibang responsibilities. Gusto kong tumulong, friend, pero next time na lang, 'di ba? Yun dapat yung sinabi niya. Now, using I statements, minsan meron tayong tendency na lalo na kapag close friends natin, ayaw natin ma-hurt, or alam mo yon, may certain lambing factor, we say, parang next time na lang, ganyan. Okay? Parang very uncertain. So parang ano, hindi ko kaya ngayon. Okay? Tapos minsan pa, maraming tentative yan. We use parang, and then minsan, you should, ano na lang, sabi mo, friend, balikan mo na lang ako next time. So, alam mo yun, very tentative, very based on the other person that you're talking to. Yung decision, we mean, ha? Very based on the other person who is currently requesting a favor from you, di ba? So, parang ang dating nun is, you're really not, di ba, sa kausap mo, parang hindi ka confident na mag-no. Related siya dun sa practice no? Hindi ka confident na mag-no. So, parang ang labas is, hindi ka sure, hindi ka confident na mag-no. So parang baka naman pwede ka pang pilitin, 'di ba? Okay. So that's why it's important for us to use I statements kasi mas clear. We 'di ba kapag kung ang tao ay sasabihin na ngayon kasi I don't I don't have the time to do this. I disagree with what you are saying. I think that there is a better way to do this. Nalalaman nung mga kausap mo, again, effective communication, right? Nalalaman ng mga kausap mo na, okay, you can stand up again, di ba? You can stand up for yourself. You can effectively express your point of view kasi galing yun sa'yo. And this is just by using I statements, di ba? That is number 2. Related to that, kanina pa natin nababanggit, no? Practice saying no. Okay? Another thing that we are very, very, nabanggit ko na kanina, na parang may tendency tayo to say parang. May tendency tayo na with our culture na parang, ay, close friend ko, nakakahiya mag-no. Parang, ayan, may utang na loob ako kasi tinulungan niya ako last time, mga ganyan. Okay, di ba? So, for sure, kumingiti si Miss Candice. Joke lang. Okay. So, we have tendencies like those. And totoo, syempre okay lang, di ba? Kasi, gano'n naman talaga. Parang you want to be there for your friend, ganyan. Pero, again, in situations wherein talagang you need to say no, you have to be again confident. You have to be comfortable with what you can do at present, with your skills, 'di ba, with your time, with your abilities at present. So syempre kailangan mong i-practice na mag-no. Like in Paula's case, kailangan mong i-practice na mag-no. Magsimula ka sa friends mo, 'di ba? Na iyan na nga in Paula's case na um friend, hindi ko kaya ngayon. No? I do not have the time right now. So I'm gonna say no to your favor. But next time, katulad ng mga answers nyo kanina, next time I will help you out. 'Di ba? It's not offensive. It was delivered in a very gentle way, 'di ba? In a very friendly way pa din. Pero nagawa mo na agad yung I statement at nakapag-no ka na agad. 'Di ba? Pero again, respectful pa din yung manner. Okay? Rehearse what you want to say. Some people, they do get to be very anxious. Okay? 'Di ba? When it comes to saying no. When there are situations, social situations that would demand them to say no, or that, that would demand them to assert themselves. Ganyan. So, for some people, mas helpful na haharap ka sa salamin. Ayan, may salamin ako sa harap ko ngayon. Naharap ka sa salamin, tapos ipa-practice mo. 'Di ba? Ipa-practice mo yung I statement, ipa-practice mo yung pag-no, ipa-practice mo kung ano yung sasabihin mo. Para at least kapag haharap ka na dun sa mga tao na, 'di ba, kakausapin mo, kahit sino pa 'yan, kahit boss mo pa 'yan, or professor mo 'yan, or friend, or parent, 'di ba? Kaya mong mag-no, or kaya mong i-express yung sarili mo kahit ano pa yung sasabihin mo. Again, in a respectful way. Okay? Use body language. Kasi minsan, kahit na sinasabi mong, I don't have the time right now, pero very, alam mo yun, naka-inward yung shoulders mo, ganyan. Tapos, nakatungo ka naman na parang, or hindi ka tumitingin sa mata ng kausap mo, 'di ba? So again, that shows that you aren't as confident in what you are saying. So syempre, practice mo din or rehearse mo din 'yan. Not just what you want to say pala, rehearse mo din how you are going to deliver it, how you would look like when you are going to present yourself, 'di ba? So ayun, use body language. Keep emotions in check because sometimes during the first few times na magno-no ka, lalo na kung ikaw ay yung tao na kilalang yes person, 'di ba? Magugulat sila. Ay, okay, mali ba ang gising nito? Okay, anong side ba ng kama 'to bumaling at tumayo? Bakit 'to nagno-no today? Okay, bakit hindi niya ako tutulungan today? So, minsan may mga conflicts, may mga arguments, ganyan, 'di ba? May mga issues na magmumula diyan. At syempre, ikaw, for someone na tinatry mo lang naman to have and maintain your own sense of harmony in your schedule, in your daily life, 'di ba? Para yan, katulad nga ni Paula, ano yung mangyayari? Parang baka madali kang, kasi again, some people naman would not be comfortable with confrontations, 'di ba? So, keep your emotions in check. Baka naman, if hindi ka pa comfortable na kausapin yung friend mo na talagang nagde-demand sa'yo na gawin mo 'to, tulungan mo ko, or like yung parent mo na, gawin mo 'to, tulungan mo ko, ganyan. So, make sure that you are also not sensitive enough parang vulnerable enough, 'di ba? Hindi ka emotional enough, hindi ka maiiyak or magagalit. Kasi hindi din effective communication 'yun na, ayoko nga, o nagsisisigaw ka na, 'di ba? Parang hindi din ano 'yun, hindi din nila makikita yung self-confidence mo doon. It would just be like a tantrum, 'di ba? Na parang hindi din nila makikita na calmly you can express yourself and you can assert yourself in a way that they would know that you are sincere pa din na next time I would help you but just right now I cannot. Okay? And start small. Ayan. So basically lahat naman ng ating tips, they are small, alam mo 'yon, small steps. So ayun na nga, practice with your friend or with your parent kung sino man yung iyong dependable social support, 'di ba? Kung sino man yung andyan lagi para sa'yo. So it's really about practicing. Again, when we talk about assertiveness as a skill, kasi ito nga po ay isang social skill, yung point nga kasi is dadalhin mo siya hanggang sa nagtatrabaho ka na, 'di ba? Dadalhin mo siya hanggang sa may sarili ka ng anak, okay? So wherever it is, whatever situation that may be, assertiveness is there, 'di ba? So ayan. So we started the tips with assess your style. So what we're gonna do is we are going to go back to the assess your style. So earlier on, we mentioned na merong tatlong types of communication, right? Meron tayong passive, we have aggressive, and then we have assertive, no? Yung balance lang, kaya mo to speak up for yourself, pero respectfully pa din, okay? So, we're gonna go to the next slide po. So, we have again another friend. May guest na tayo. So, si Paula yung kanina. Ayan, mahilig tayo sa scenarios. Para na-apply natin, di ba? Okay, and then ito naman si Sis Mars Ana. Okay. So Ana is your group leader daw. Okay. For example, this is in schoolwork. Ganyan. So Ana is your group leader. You love working for her because you know she is good at what she does, but she consistently asks you to stay late to work. Okay. Baka naman ito yung friend ni Paula. Ay, joke lang. Okay. So she would constantly message you even if it's already late at night. Grabe. Okay, respeto po sa time. Despite you doing your best to contribute, you want to remind her to be a bit more considerate but do not know how to and end up staying up late with her to finish your task. So basically, nagko-contribute ka naman, di ba? This is you in the scenario and Anna as your group leader. So in this scenario, nagko-contribute ka naman, pero for some unknown reason, 'di ba si Ana, pinupush ka pa din niya, kinukulit ka pa din niya kahit wee hours of the night, 'di ba? Para tulungan siya, okay? So what we are going to ask you naman to do right now is kanina, 'di ba? We have mentioned passive we have aggressive, and we have assertive communication style. So can you comment po, ano po kaya sa tingin nyo naman itong communication style dito? Is it passive or aggressive or assertive? Okay, after knowing kung ano yung passive. When we say passive, you immediately agree with what other people say. Again, similar to Paula. Okay. So ano yung, kayo po si you in the situation, okay? Kayo yung group member. So kung kayo yung group member sa situation na to, ano po kaya yung communication style na ginagamit mo? Passive, aggressive, or assertive? Ayan. So, yung mga passive communication style, yun yung mga tao na, again, will have a hard time expressing their opinions. Ayan, mga yes people lagi. And as a result, they tend to be taken advantage. They tend to feel like they are taken advantage of others. Yeah. I like Miss Bell answered
Mga
passive.
nag-feedback na. Yes, may mga nag-comment na.
Just read the message in the morning na. Di ba? Yes. Very correct. 8 to 5 lang po. Kahit schoolwork na. Strict office hours. Ayan. So they are saying passive. Yes, very, very obvious, no? Na passive dapat. Yeah. Nasa YouTube ka ba, Miss Candice? Kamusta naman dyan?
Dito din ako sa Facebook
Facebook.
ang daming nagko-comment. Ayan.
Okay.
Mostly passive ang insights nila actually.
Yeah, so you in this situation, you are using, di ba? Yeah, so you are using, most of you ang sinasabi niyo po passive. Yes, kasi kayo as a group member in this situation passive. Bakit? Kasi alam mo na nga na 'di ba, na nauubusan ka na ng time to rest and to do self-care and to just not be bothered by schoolwork or group work or kung ano man 'yan na kailangan ng tulong ni Ana for, na pwede naman again, sabi ni Miss in the chat box, pwede mo naman kulitin, 'di ba, in the morning, ginagawa mo pa din. So, nagpupuyat ka pa din, willingly. 'Di ba? Kahit kahit hindi ka na comfortable with that. So, yeah, for this certain scenario, yes, yung communication style po is passive. Okay. So, Miss Candice, meron pa tayong isa guest. We have another guest.
Yes, may isa pa tayong guest. Next slide po, please. Ayan, so ito naman, si Mitch naman ang ating pag-uusapan. So for scenario number 2, Mitch is the type of person who usually has conflict with others. When asked why, people say that she is too opinionated. So whenever Mitch has something to say, she makes sure that she does it in a way that will make other people think lowly of themselves. Naku, parang ang hirap naman kapag meron kang ganitong classmate or makaka-encounter. But it's something that can actually happen, 'di ba? Especially when you're in school o kaya kapag magtatrabaho ka na, we might really encounter people who have this type of communication style. So ano naman kaya ang communication style dito ni Mitch? Is it passive? Is it assertive? Or is it aggressive? Comment down nyo lang. Yan. Let's see. Okay, may mga nag-send in na ng mga comments nila, Miss Reese. May mga nagsasabing aggressive. Okay. Ayun, mostly aggressive ang kanilang mga insights. Yes, so if we are to take a look at this scenario, no, it's actually possible na aggressive ang communication style ni Mitch, and we have to be careful kapag ganito yung type ng communication style natin kasi syempre minsan hindi maiiwasan, 'di ba, when we get overwhelmed with our emotions, minsan talaga we speak out of out of our emotional minds, kaya minsan medyo nagiging strong yung pagsabi natin, but we have to be careful na pag ganito yung communication style na ginagamit natin because it could usually lead to conflicts, which is something that we want to minimize, 'di ba? We are promoting being assertive, yung mai-express mo ng maayos yung thoughts mo, yung opinions mo, while still being able to respect the other person.
Yes. Okay. Do you have another guest? Okay. Yeah, next slide po. Ayan. Okay. Meron naman tayong lalaki naman. So apparently, meron din tayong kabarangay over here, no? So si Tim, si Bro Tim, ayan. So si Tim daw is a member of your team. Okay? Again, isipin na natin habang binabasa natin, passive-aggressive or assertive communication style ba ito? Tim is a member of your team. Wow. Working with you on a specific school project. He has consistently been late. Naku po. X yan sa professionalism. Late daw siya sa meeting in meeting his commitments on this project. Okay? In the beginning, tinutulungan mo, you covered for Tim, doing his work as well as your own. However, this has now been going on for 2 weeks. Grabe naman. And it does not appear to be changing. As a result, you decide to talk to Tim about him missing out on his deadlines. Tim admitted to his fault and has started to become more active in the group. Very obvious, no? Okay. So again, in
Ano
the
kaya?
comments, oo. Ano ka, baka iba, baka iba yung sagot, o, di ba? But yeah, reading between the lines, kahit very obvious, ayan. So, ano po kaya yung communication style naman? Okay? Na ginamit nyo towards them in this scenario. So, is it passive? Is it aggressive? Is it assertive? No, and we can see and we can clearly compare, no? Kung yung difference nung pag-approach nyo, 'di ba? As a maybe you are a team leader in this kasi member daw ng team mo, si Tim. Team mo si Tim. Okay?
Yan, ang dami na nag-answer. Oh, iisa ang kanilang answer, Miss Reese.
Yeah. So, not a shock. Hindi tayo shocked. Oo, tama. Assertive, right? Thank you po very much again for your responses. Assertive. Kasi if i-compare mo siya with the leadership style ni Mitch, di ba? Ni Mitch in scenario 2, na talagang kapag papagalitan ka or when there are shortcomings, kapag may kailangan sa'yo, sisigawan ka, na by the end ng pag-uusap nyo, parang ang liit-liit mo na, di ba? Parang gano'n na yung feeling. Oh, may acting pa. But yeah, in this scenario, you were able to communicate well with Tim yung shortcomings niya, 'di ba? Obviously naman hindi siya na-offend kasi nag-respond naman siya better, no? He admitted to his fault. Kasi syempre, again, yung point again nung ating assertive style of communication is yes, you are able to stand up for yourself, you are able to point out no kung ano yung iyong point. Okay. You're able to relay your thoughts, pero again, respectfully pa din na hindi nakaka-offend sa beliefs and sa views ng ibang tao. Okay? So, Tim, next time, wag ka na late. Yan. So, pwedeng ganun kasimple lang and kalumanay lang, di ba? Nasabihin kay Tim yon. Okay? So, ayun po. Salamat sa tatlong guests natin. No? So, as we have seen, di ba kanina, sinabi natin, love grows where my confidence goes. Kaya natin sinimulan again yung talk on assertiveness is because we first need, 'di ba, in order to love ourselves, in order for us to be more confident, 'di ba? Kasi assertiveness is linked to confidence, 'di ba? So, in order for us to develop our self-confidence, dapat we first know what our strengths are and weaknesses are and also how we can communicate with others na, o teka, alam ko yung worst ko ha, alam ko kung ano yung kaya kong gawin, alam ko yung time ko, yung schedule ko, okay? At ito lang yung kaya kong gawin for this. Next time na lang yung iba. So, really, it's related now. We are now going to stage 2, okay? Moving from the foundation, the basement, we are now going to level 2. Okay, and so I will be turning over the discussion to Miss Candice.
Ayan. Thank you very much, Miss Reese. So we're now going to move to the second part of our discussion this afternoon. And ang magiging focus na nito is how you can learn strategies or specific ways by which you can, improve your relationship with the people around you, especially now that we are in a pandemic pa rin. Almost 3 years na tayong nasa pandemic. And kanina, si Miss Reese ni-relate niya yung talk about confidence and assertiveness with the month of love, di ba? And syempre, itong part din na to, i-relate din natin sa month of love. Kasi very timely talaga, very fitting siya. Kasi di ba, when we talk about the month of love, we express our affection for the people around us, di ba? And kanina, we've been highlighting na it really starts with ourselves, na being confident and being assertive are ways by which we could love ourselves. And ngayon naman, itong part na to would focus on how we could express our love for the people who matter most to us, for the very important people that we have around us. And one way by which we can do that is through improving our connections with them. So we untitled this talk as Hey Pretty Shining People, We're All Right Together. Yun ang title ng part na to. And syempre, dahil medyo millennial kami ni Miss Reese, we tried to look for song lyrics that would, befit for this topic. And we found ito, actually lyrics din to from a song. And parang ang ganda kasi niya na parang it's a nice way to view our relationships na with all the the quarantine measures that have been going on, nag-ECQ, nag-MECQ, nag-alert level, nagkaroon talaga tayo ng physical distance from meeting our friends. So na-restrict yung ability natin to, spend time with them. And of course, with the ongoing pandemic, ang dami nating na-encounter na mga challenges and all that. Ang dami nating mga individual circumstances na pinagdaraanan. And so we find na itong statement na to na parang we're still all right together. Ang ganda niyang way na parang despite all these changes, you can still say that to your friends na, hey, we're still all right together, diba? Na parang despite what we are going through, despite the individual circumstances we are facing right now, we are still shining, we are still thriving, and that we are all right together despite the distance. So we hope no na after this discussion on how you can improve your relationship with the people around you, you get to share that mindset with us din na parang we're still all right together, parang gano'n. Okay, so next slide please. Ayan. So for this part, obviously, we're going to talk now about social connection and social support. Nakakamiss yung mga ganyang pictures na we get to bond with our friends. Pero ngayon, ang mga bonding moments muna natin would be through mga virtual meetouts. Although pwede nang pakonti-konting lumabas with friends, but medyo risky pa din. But this is something na we are not not a stranger to yung social connection and social support. One way or another, we have established a connection with someone else, be it a family member, a classmate, a friend, someone that you met online. Di ba nga sabi, no man is an island. So as people, we really strive for connection. So we establish connection with others, and through that connection, nagpo-form tayo ng relationship. And with that relationship, meron tayong nakukuhang support, di ba? Meron tayong social support na nakukuha. And before tayo mag-proceed with discussing kung bakit ba important na mag-invest tayo dito, lalo ngayon na pandemic, I wanna hear your insights din. Para sa inyo ba mga students, bakit important na, maglaan tayo ng effort, mag-make time pa rin tayo to improve on our relationships? Bakit ba kailangan na we bank on this? So type nyo lang sa comments, no? Kung ano yung insights nyo. Don't worry, walang tama or maling sagot, di ba? We appreciate your insights kung ano man yan. Pero ano sa tingin nyo, bakit nga ba kailangan natin na mag-take ng time na, to still keep in touch with others? Hindi naman kami nagkikita. Pwede naman dito lang ako sa bahay. Yung family ko lang kakausapin ko. Baka naman hindi ko na kailangan yung mga friends ko. Pero bakit nga ba? Bakit important pa rin despite, the physical distancing measures and all that? Ayan. Kasi ako din minsan napapansin ko na parang hindi ko na masyadong nakakausap yung mga friends ko. And minsan we take those for granted na parang ang dali sa atin sabihin na okay lang yan, busy kasi ako, ganyan. Pero minsan hindi natin namamalayan, ang tagal na pala nung last na pag-uusap natin, hindi na pala tayo updated sa buhay ng isa't isa. Alam mo yun, di ba? And ang daming possible factors. But bakit kaya kailangan pa rin to make an effort? Yan, may mga sumasagot na to make ourselves better. I like this one, for our mental health, for our well-being. Yes, very, very important, which is also what we are going to highlight later on. Good relationship is the key to happiness. Yes, to maintain connections. Yes, so ang gaganda, yung mga insights are all about really making sure that the connection is still there. And yung mga insights nyo, they all point to making the relationship work for our own personal gain as well. And that is all true. That is also what we want to highlight in the next slide. Ayan. Next slide. Ayan. So, time and again, it has been proven na yung relationships natin can actually be helpful for us. There have been several researches that have said na kapag mas connected ka sa family mo, sa friends mo, sa mga tao sa community mo, mas nakaka-experience ka ng positive emotion. So, mas masaya ka, yung feeling of joy, yung mas tumatawa ka, ganyan. And mas nagiging confident ka din. So, technically, mas nai-improve yung levels of well-being mo. Kapag din daw mas related tayo sa mga friends natin, the more na maintain natin yung mga relationship natin, bumababa din yung mga feelings of anxiety natin. And this one, I can personally relate to this kasi syempre, diba, kapag meron tayong mga, kapag kinakabahan tayo, pag ang dami nating iniisip, minsan gusto lang talaga natin ng mahihingahan, diba? And when we are able to do that, when we have a safe space for someone to hear us out, kahit papano, bumababa, nano-normalize yung feelings of anxiety mo. And that's a very big help, diba? Lalo ngayon with all these uncertainties that we are going through, diba? Parang having someone to hear you out can be a very big help already. It has also been found na it can improve our quality of sleep. Ito naman, these are for those who are undergoing isolation ngayong COVID-19. Parang they found in the study na kapag mas connected sila, pag mas may kinakausap sila na ibang tao, mas nakakatulog sila ng maayos. And so what we are really trying to highlight here is that the quality of our relationships can help us cope with the pandemic. Gaya kanina, I've been saying na with the almost 2-3 years, going 3 years natin na nasa pandemic, ang dami talaga nating mga individual changes or challenges na pinagdadaanan. And itong quality ng relationships natin, pwede natin siyang paghugutan ng lakas ng loob to, still keep going, to keep thriving pa din, diba? Despite these personal changes that we are going through. And we want to, highlight here na it's the quality of our relationship. Kasi pwede ngang meron kang relationship with another person, with this group of people, pero unhealthy naman, di ba? So yun, hindi yun nakakatulong. And kanina, if you remember, we asked you to list down, di ba, to um, type in ano ba yung mga qualities na makakapagpasabi na healthy yung isang relationship. And you mentioned faithfulness, being trustworthy, 'di ba? Yung mga having constant communication, trust and respect. All of these qualities, it has to be present in the relationship that you have for you to be able to say that it is a healthy relationship. Pero syempre, it doesn't just stop there. Hindi lang siya nag-e-end dun sa mga qualities na yon. Another important quality that we can foster, lalo ngayon na pandemic, which could, really strengthen our relationships is, next slide please. Ayan, gentleness. Wait lang, let me just turn on the charger kasi medyo lobat na yung laptop ko. Okay. So, going back, gentleness. Kanina, no, si Miss Reese has been highlighting on how important it is na we assert ourselves, that we will be able to share our thoughts and beliefs, di ba? Pero when we talk about assertiveness, it goes hand in hand with gentleness, especially in the context of relationships. Kasi when we talk about relationships, di ba, hindi lang naman ikaw yung involved eh. Meron pang isang party, that's why it's a relationship, di ba? It's composed of group 2 or more people, di ba? So, when you talk about your relationship, lagi mong i-consider yung other person or other people involved. And syempre, you all know na iba-iba tayo ng ways, di ba, ng pag-handle ng bagay-bagay. So, minsan, yung pag-assert mo ng sarili mo, yung pag-assert mo ng mga opinions mo, kailangan mong balansehin sa opinions kung paano binuview nung kasama sa relationship yung mga bagay-bagay. So it goes hand in hand when we talk about assertiveness. Hindi lang siya plainly asserting, di ba? Gaya nga ng sabi ni Ms. Reese, it's finding a balance between respecting the belief of the other person. So, very important to keep in mind that you have to treat your relationships with gentleness. Di ba may song na Treat Them With Kindness ni Selena Gomez? So, yon. Keep that in mind. When we talk about relationships, you have to treat it with gentleness. You have to be kind and tender, especially right now that ang dami nating pinagdadaanan, di ba? So, paano nga ba, that brings us to this question na, paano nga ba natin matitreat yung relationships natin with gentleness? Before we proceed to that parang specific ways, pag-usapan muna natin yung isa nating guest. So, next slide please. Ayan, meron tayong isa pang guest speaker dito. Si Elena naman. So, kanina we've been talking about Paula, di ba? Meron din si Anna, si Tim, si Mitch. So, ngayon naman si Elena. So, let me read itong scenario ni Elena. Elena has been noticeably distant from her group of friends for some time now. She hasn't been replying in their group chat and has been leaving everyone on scene or read mode, di ba? You still see her post stories on Instagram but she does not reply to your messages. Meron ba sa inyong nakaka-relate or meron bang naka-experience na nitong case ni Elena? So si Elena daw, 'di ba? Syempre ngayon nasa pandemic tayo, yung iba umuwi sa province, ganyan. So ang pinaka-effective, ang pinaka-common na way that we get in touch with our friends would be through group chats usually, 'di ba? Kaya lang si Elena daw, lagi niya kayong naiiwan sa either seen or yung read mode lang, yung na-deliver pero hindi inopen, parang inbox zone, ganon. So, hindi siya nagpaparamdam sa inyo. Pero, pag titingnan sa Instagram, ganyan, nakikita niyo naman siya na medyo active siya doon. So, yun ang scenario ni Elena. Ngayon, meron lang akong intriguing question. Meron na ba sa inyong naka-encounter ng ganitong scenario ngayong pandemic? Pa-thumbs up naman. Just drop a thumbs up comment sa Facebook or sa YouTube kung na-experience nyo na, and thumbs down kung hindi. I just want to see parang a show of hands lang kung ilan na yung nakaka-experience. Kasi ako personally, yes, meron akong ganyang na-encounter na one of my closest friends, kapag nandun kami sa group chat, hindi siya masyadong nagre-respond. Pero I see her na active siya sa Instagram. So, tingnan natin kung ano yung parang what would be the best way to approach this scenario with gentleness pa rin. Ayan, may mga nagko-comment na ba? Ayan, may nag-thumbs up na. So, meron ngang mga naka-experience na nitong scenario na to. And it's okay ha, no worries if you are also that type of friend who would usually distance herself from other people. It's okay. You know, ang dami din nating pinagdadaanan ngayon. So give that space to yourself then. But also know that these group of friends, they're also waiting for you, di ba? Parang they're also waiting for you to reach out. So ayan, meron pa bang mga nag-aano? Okay. So, this brings me to my next question no, na since meron nga sa inyo ng mga naka-experience nito, ganyan, if you were one of Elena's friends, how would you approach kaya this situation? So, kunyari, ikaw yung kasama ka sa circle of friends ni Elena. Tapos napapansin mo nga na hindi siya masyadong nagre-reply sa inyo or hindi siya nagre-reply sa inyo at all. Pero nakikita mo pa rin siyang active sa Instagram. So, how would you approach kaya itong situation na to? Or what would be a nice way, you know, having heard about gentleness, having heard about assertiveness, di ba? What would be a good way to approach kaya this situation? Tingnan natin. Ayan. Kasi, di ba, the way we would respond to this situation can have an effect on the quality of our relationship. So it's important na careful tayo on how we will approach these situations. Yan. Sige. You can just type in your insights or anything that, you know, pops into your mind na parang what would be a good way to approach. Do we confront Elena agad? And do you reply sa story ni Elena and tell her, bakit di ka nagpaparamdam? Ganyan-ganyan. Do you give space kay Elena and just, you know, let her know na you are there whenever whenever she's ready, you are there to listen to her? Those are possible reactions also, di ba? Yan. Wala pang nag-insight? Sige, it's okay. Baka you're still taking time. But if you do have an insight in mind, type it down lang. Pwede natin siyang balikan later on. But what we want to emphasize here no, is that from this situation alone, which is something nga na common, lalo ngayon na pandemic, we can get different sets of reactions, di ba? Pwedeng isang individual would confront si Elena and be talagang, you know, tell her na bakit di ka na nagre-reply, bakit di ka na nagpaparamdam, pero active ka pa naman. Pero another way of responding would be to give her the space she needs, to reach out and tell her that you're waiting whenever she's ready. Those are different sets of reactions which could have different effects sa relationship natin. Kaya kailangan talaga we approach these situations with gentleness. No matter how simple or how complicated the situation can get, you have to keep gentleness in mind, diba? So we're going to proceed now to some specific strategies that we can do, you know, do right now that we are in a pandemic para mas maalagaan yung mga relationships natin. And just a reminder, no, these strategies that we're about to give, they're not alien to you. For sure, you have been doing this already.
Yes.
For sure, you have been investing on these already. But what we want to emphasize is, given the circumstances that we are in right now, it would be nice, it would be really, really helpful if you know, invest more time and effort in doing these strategies para mas ma-foster pa, para mas ma-strengthen yung relationships that you have. Okay? So
Miss Candice, I think we have like an influx of responses in the chat.
Ayan! Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, yes. Thank
A
you,
lot of
sis, for doing that,
interesting
no?
thoughts. Oo.
Ayan, sige, let's read some before we proceed to the actual strategies. We can go through some muna. Ayan, give space kay Elena. Baka may problem siya na di sinishare sa amin as friends niya. Yes, that's a possible thing din, di ba? Ang dami nating pinagdadaanan. Baka hindi
Yes.
pa ready si Elena na mag-share, di ba? This one also. understand that everyone needs to have a time for themselves. Maybe she's taking her time. Yes. So it will be better to wait until she's ready to open up, but assure her that no matter what she's going through, we are one call away. I like that. Cue in Charlie Puth's song, One Call Away. But yes, no. Thank you very much for sharing that. Send her an assuring message, give her space to process her emotions, pray for her, and give her time for herself. Yes, minsan no, there are different types of support kasi that we can give, hindi lang naman through reaching out. Pwede rin, praying for her, especially if you know that she's going through something. That's also a way of, showing support, being there for your friend.
Mm-mm.
Ayan, ang gaganda ng mga insights nyo. I would
There's another
message.
here, sabi, try to
Sige,
see
go.
if her stories are okay or a bit sad. If she is okay, I'll chat her. But if she is not, I'll give her time. O, diba? So,
Yes.
iba-iba, yeah,
Mhm.
iba-iba yung approach. Very millennial way yun. No? Parang, nakikita kasi natin
Yes.
yung parang mood ng stories minsan, right?
Nasa-sense.
Parang,
Mhm.
parang may pinagdadaanan yung friend ko. Okay. So, yeah,
Totoo, totoo.
pwede.
And those are wonderful ways, no. Very simple, but if you are on the receiving end, ang laki ng magiging impact niya. So thank you very much. We really appreciate yung mga insights niyo dyan. And those are actually all connected to the strategies that we are going to mention, that we're going to highlight. So first one, ang pinaka first na strategy is, next slide please. Ayan. To respect each other's boundaries. And this has been mentioned, no, na-mention nyo na to sa chat kanina. What do we mean ba when we say boundaries? Syempre, di ba, when you have a relationship with someone, regardless kung romantic ba yan or sa family or sa friend, kahit gaano ka-intimate yung relationship mo, kahit gaano kalalim yung relationship mo with that person, meron ka pa ring certain limits na nilalagay, di ba? And being part of that relationship means that you respect that boundary. You respect the limits that the other person has put in place para mas maging productive yung relationship niyo as compared to you encountering conflicts and all that. So, kanina may mga nagsasabi sa inyo na baka may pinagdadaanan si Elena and she is not yet ready. That's an example of a boundary on Elena's end na hindi pa siya ready mag-open up. So, being a friend of Elena, you have to respect that. You have to give her time and space. So, that would be a nice way to practice gentleness sa case ni Elena, di ba? You give her the space that she needs, but you reassure her that you are there whenever you need to listen to her, di ba? Kumbaga, parang hindi mo siya pipilitin na mag-open up kasi pag pinilit mo siyang mag-open up, it could lead to more conflict, di ba? Baka lang mainis lalo si Elena, ma-force siya na mag-open up with something that she's not yet ready and mas maging worse yung pakiramdam niya, which could be counterproductive for the relationship. So, very important in any situation that you encounter, even if hindi sa ganitong situation ni Elena, that you respect the other person's boundary. So, kung kunyari nag-reach out ka na, tapos hindi pa nagre-reply si friend, then baka naman meron siyang pinagkakabisihan, You give her that space also. Yan. Next slide, the next strategy that can be very helpful is ito, to make an effort to reach out. Kanina sabi natin we give her the space that she needs, respect the boundaries. But kaakibat nun is ito na you make your presence felt pa rin. And a lot of you have mentioned that when you were sharing your insights, no, na parang despite giving her the space that she needs, you will still make an effort to reach out. You will still let her know na andiyan ka lang, andiyan ka for her, na kapag ready na siya, she can message you anytime, di ba? And ang daming ways by which we could, show this effort. Pwedeng as simple as tagging her sa isang meme na nakita mo sa Instagram na feeling mo nakaka-relate siya. Kunyari, meron kayong favorite show na lagi niyong pinapanood, tapos may nakita kang Instagram post na parang, uy, shucks, galing to sa show na to. You can simply send her that meme, tapos maghaha-react ka lang, di ba? That's because that's making her know na I'm here, andito pa rin. And diba from there, pwedeng mag-start na kayo ng convo and all that. Ako, I personally do that. Minsan kapag may mga nakikita akong mga, memes sa Instagram na alam kong makaka-relate kami ng friends ko, I really send it to them para talagang ma-remind lang sila, and it's a good way to also bond to, de-stress. Yan, 'di ba? Kayo ba, how do you make an effort to reach out to your friends? You can share in sa chat. Sobrang nag-evolve na yung ways of making our presence felt sa mga friends natin, di ba? Or sa family. Kunyari, malayo ka sa isang family o kaya meron kang family member na nag-undergo ng quarantine right now. There are so many ways to reach out and make an effort, di ba? Meron kami noon, pinapadalhan namin ng food, yung mga ganun, yung mga friends ko, pag may mga minsan nagsa-schedule kami ng movie night. Those are some ways by which we make an effort to reach out to one another. So I'd like to hear then kung meron man kayo na mga ways on how you reach out, how you make an effort. Share it with us sa chat kasi syempre that could also be a new strategy for us, 'di ba? Yung mga millennials nga ngayon, they also parang play games together, yung mga ganon, 'di ba? Yung mga kapatid ko ganon, they do naglalaro sila online ng magkakasama. So that's an effort to also reach out, 'di ba? Parang spending quality time together, may mga video calls or even as simple as, checking in, talagang taking the time to chat or reply sa story. That's a very nice way to make your presence felt. Kasi minsan pag may pinagdadaanan tayo, ang dali, parang sobrang laking tulong na yung alam mo na merong ready makinig sa'yo pag handa ka nang mag-open up, 'di ba? Minsan yun lang din talaga ang need natin, making sure na we have someone who's ready to listen to us. That's a very big help already. So ayun, if you just have
Yes.
any specific things that you do to say na you are making an effort to reach out, share it with us sa chat para at least mabanggit natin. But ang
Ayan.
daming ways. Ayan, meron na
Yeah.
ba?
They are saying, ayan, same daw with you, Miss Candice, no? Video calls and sending memes. Ayan. Playing
Yes.
online games together. Invite
Mhm.
them to karaoke time. We have to do this
Oh, wow.
in our
Oo, that's
Fridays,
something
di
new.
ba?
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. May
Mhm.
website ba dyan to karaoke together? Yeah. Watch party with friends. Teleparty is
Yes.
there.
Mhm. 'Di ba?
Oo.
So sobrang dami actually, sobrang daming way. And despite us wait, let me mute na yan. Despite our busy schedules, 'di ba? It would be nice to allot some time kahit in one day, 'di ba? Kahit mag-allot ka lang ng 5 minutes to send that meme to your friend or ask your
Yeah.
friend, "How are you doing? Kamusta ka na?" ganyan. Kasi ako din
Mm-mm.
minsan hindi ko napapansin, ang dami ko na palang, ang dami ko palang ginagawa on my own. Ang tagal ko na palang di nakakausap yung friends ko. So minsan, I really take the time to
Yes.
ask them, how have you been? What's going
Mm-mm.
on with you? 'Di ba? As simple as yung ganong question, it really
Mm-mm.
means a lot already. So ayun,
Yes.
make an effort to reach out. Next one is, next slide please, be accountable. Ayan. What do we mean when we say accountable? 'Di ba? Kanina pa natin ine-emphasize na sa isang relationship, hindi lang ikaw ang involved, 'di ba? Merong ibang tao, meron yung isa pang tao o kaya group of people. And when we talk about being accountable, cargo nyo ang isa't isa kasi you decided to invest. Parang you intentionally took your time and effort to build a relationship with them. And so, when something happens to that relationship, kaya kapag may mga changes o kaya may napapansin ka ng nagbabago sa quality ng relationship nyo, you're accountable enough to reach out and ask what is wrong. O kaya, for example, pag may conflict, di ba? Being accountable means that you own up to your mistakes. Sorry, medyo may nagko-construction dito. If naririnig nyo, please don't mind. Okay, thank you. Okay, so being accountable means that you would be humble enough to own up to your mistakes, to your end of the story, di ba? So that you can make the relationship stronger. Di ba, meron nga yung sa line ni Meredith at ni Christina from Grey's Anatomy na, you are my person, di ba? So when you say,
Yes.
yes, di ba? When you say na you're each other's person, accountable kayo sa isa't isa. You are there when you need something, di ba? Kapag napapansin mong may iba nang nangyayari sa relationship, you approach agad. You do something about it. Hindi yung hahayaan mo lang siya na lumala
Yeah.
ng lumala, di ba? So kunyari, sa case ni Elena, when we talk about being accountable, it means na kunyari binigyan mo na siya ng space, tapos nag-open up na siya sa'yo slowly. You could also tell her na parang actually I've also been busy then. I've been going through something also, kaya sorry, hindi rin ako masyadong nakakapag-reach out sa'yo, di ba? So even as simple as owning up to that, sharing that with her, that's already being accountable of your responsibilities dun sa relationship na yun. So that's what we mean when we say accountable. Yan. Lastly, next slide please, is ito, something na talaga namang very, very, very important sa isang relationship is to be a good listener, 'di ba? Given naman 'to, 'di ba? Na kaya nga tayo nagkakaroon ng good connection with them is because we listen. We are there when they need us. But what we want to emphasize here is that we listen actively, diba? Active listening. Well, we are 100% present when that person talks to us. And minsan, no, there are times kasi na yes, we listen, but ang ginagawa natin is when we listen to that person's story, we are so um ano ba, parang masyado tayong napipreoccupy with the intention of helping that person that we want to come up with a solution kaagad na parang nag-share pa lang si friend sa'yo, ikaw iniisip mo na ano bang pwede kong sabihin para umokay siya. And so we listen to reply pag ganun. But equally important is to also make sure that you listen to understand what the other person is going through. Kasi there are times naman na ang gusto lang talaga nung friend natin is may mahingahan, may mailabasan ng pinagdadaanan niya, 'di ba? I saw this tweet somewhere before na parang itong couple na to, what they do is kapag nag-voice out sila ng concerns nila sa isa't isa, they ask each other, do you want me to give you a solution or do you want me to just hear you out? And I feel like, 'di ba, that's a very good way to practice, not just hindi lang sa romantic relationships, but also with the other types of relationships that you have, 'di ba? You ask the person muna na parang, would you want me to give you a solution to this, or do you simply want to be heard, 'di ba? Kasi that makes a very big difference. Syempre, the intention to help is still there, but primarily you listen to make sure na nava-validate din yung experience ni friend mo and that you actually are there for her. So that's a very important thing, no? Listening to understand and not just to reply, not just to be able to say something in return to that friend of yours, di ba? So, for example, kay Elena, pag nag-open up na si Elena sa'yo, talagang hear her out, di ba? Be there, try to validate what Elena has been going through, and ask her if um she would want to be helped with a piece of advice or something, or gusto niya lang ba talaga ng mahingahan, kasi that's a very important thing and that makes a very big difference, di ba, when we are actually listening intently to what the other person is trying to say. Kasi ganun din, especially pag may mga conflicts, di ba, you need to really hear each other out. And all of these, all of these strategies, they go hand in hand pa rin with being confident with yourself, being able to assert yourself. Kasi how would you be able to be accountable to that person? How would you be able to make an effort to reach out if hindi ka assertive enough, di ba? Hindi ka confident sa sarili mo na you can be a good friend to that person. So I hope you are able to see the interconnection of these three, yung pagiging confident mo, pagiging assertive mo, and applying these to the relationships that we have para mas maging stronger yung connections natin, para mas maging matibay yung quality of relationships that we have with the important people around us. So ayun, if we are to, summarize itong mga strategies natin, next slide please. In order for us to practice gentleness in our relationships, We have to be real. And so we hope that you can always
Wow.
remember this hashtag, no? Hashtag real. And real in the sense na genuine ka sa intention mo, na you
Mm-mm.
really want to keep the relationship, to foster the relationship, to improve the relationship that you have, but also real in the sense that you are able to respect the other person's boundaries, 'di ba? You know when to reach out, you know when to give her space. You're able to make an effort to assure that person that you are there for her. Ang dami pang mga nagsisend actually ng mga insights. Thank you very much. Dinner or food trip, oh, may nagsabi. That's also nice, 'di ba? So you make an effort to make sure that your friends or the people that matter to you know that you are there for them. You will be accountable. You have to be accountable, meaning you have to admit, or you have to do something to take care of the relationship, especially when you notice some changes already. And lastly, you have to listen. Listen to understand more than listening to reply, diba? So I hope you get to keep those things in mind. Hashtag real, to be gentle, diba? And treat your relationships with kindness pa rin, with gentleness, diba? Para talagang mas ma-foster pa rin siya, especially now that we are in a pandemic when everything is so uncertain. Talagang important that we bank on this. Yan. So, ayun, Miss Reese. That's our,
Yeah. So, ayan, thank you very much for all of those sharings, Miss Candice, no? So, ayun na nga, we see really, like what Miss Candice said earlier, di ba? Lahat po ng strategies na to, lahat ng soft skills na to, no? Social skills, we already know this, no? So, yung session lang talaga is to remind you that you have these qualities, you have the ability to be more confident, you have the ability to harness assertiveness, di ba? That yes, you respect your own self, your own worth, your own time, as well as others own 'di ba, time. And kaya nga even in our strategies we take into account the importance of 'di ba boundaries, 'di ba, yung real, 'di ba, and empathizing, and yung accountability and listening. And so to just kind of provide like a closing for our talk, no, we hope na we are gonna go back to building bridges, 'di ba? So we had our foundation with ourselves. We have the second layer when it is about extending what we have learned, our self-love, extending that kind of love, di ba? Full tank na kasi, so mag-extend na tayo for love for ourselves to those around us, to our friends, to our families. So just like a bridge, we hope that you can practice becoming more confident and comfortable enough in your own strengths, weaknesses, areas for improvement and development, so that you can also better connect with others. You can become more open as well in connecting with others. So we hope that you can apply these strategies that we mentioned to strengthen your relationship. So thank you again, everybody, for
thank
your
you.
participation.
Ayan, thank you so much, Miss Reese and Miss Candice, for a wonderful and informative presentation. I am sure that our students learned a lot from you. Hashtag real. Yan.
Yes, totoo yung hashtag real, no? So at this juncture, we will go ahead and take some time for your questions. Please be sure to type your question in the comment section. No, so thank you so much, Miss Reese and Miss Candice. No, parang habang nag-speak kayo kanina, naalala ko yung mga moments natin na during that.
Yes.
So nagsisend na ng memes.
Yes, yung lagi niyo ako tinatag, no, sa mga memes na,
yes,
na nakakatawa. Actually, I really appreciate that. And
yeah.
siguro, siguro it is our perfect time then to say thank you to both of you.
Yes.
During grad school kasi. During grad school kasi talagang parang araw-araw nyo ako kinakamusta. No, kumbaga, imbes na tumaas yung anxiety ko, talagang na-lessen talaga because of you. Na talaga kamustahin lang, simpleng reach out, talagang malaking bagay na rin. Or simpleng meme nga lang no? Pag-tag talagang malaking bagay na yun.
Kasi minsan we take that for granted talaga pero pagbabalikan mo parang nakakatuwa na naalala niya pa, diba? Despite the busy schedule, naalala niya ako. That's very nice.
Yes, talagang actually yung mga communication style, yung mga cases ba, yung mga guest participants pa natin, mga classmates pa natin.
No!
It's confidential.
Yes. Diba? We found a way to bring everyone in.
Hindi mo alam, isa ka na pala doon, Andrew. Oh my God. Blind item pala yung mga guests.
Very suitable po yung mga guests natin.
Yes. Thank you, Miss Senior. Yeah. That was our goal. So, ayan.
So, wala ba questions? Actually, wala ata questions ang ating mga students. Siguro baka clear sila with our guest speaker. And of course, yung mga guests natin sa cases, talaga may intindihan nila yung mga cases. So, actually, mga comment lang naman. Thank you po. Thank you for this great new learnings and realization. And I also acknowledge the presence of Sir Marco a while ago. Kanina nandito si President listening to your webinar, to our webinar for this afternoon. So, actually, yung mga comment lang naman nila yung mga emojis and yung mga cute comment na may pa-heart.
Heart, yes.
So, Daniel? So, it looked like we've covered all our questions during the speaker's presentation. So, beloved speaker, is there anything else you wanted to cover or add? Or yun na yun?
yun na yun.
Actually, we have pala, no? Actually, we have questions. Ayun, buti na lang may humabol, no? So, from Miss Diendo Mali, paano po mag-approach sa isang taong ayaw mag-build ng bridge? Like po, from previous okay pa naman kayo, after parang nanlamig siya as friend, actually is my coworker.
Parang medyo related sa case ni Elena, if I understand it correctly. Na parang okay naman, tas biglang nagiging distant, parang ganun ba, if I'm not mistaken. Ako muna magbigay ng insights, Miss Reese. I think it's related kay #real. No, but I think it's a very common thing yung ganyan na parang may times na yung mga co-workers natin or friends natin biglang nagiging distant, and I think that's where the awareness of gentleness and respecting boundaries could very much come in. Parang syempre ikaw, you would want to reach out and ask what's happening with that person, bakit ka biglang naging distant, but again, you have to understand na that person may be going through something and it's possible na hindi pa siya ready to share that with you, diba? And if you have, parang if malalim enough yung relationship nyo, you can see that na baka nga may pinagdadaanan siya. So, siguro, one thing that I would suggest is to give that person time and space muna. Especially if medyo matagal na kayong magkakilala, ganyan. If you notice na nagbabago nga, nagiging distant na, try to take things from his or her perspective. Baka kasi may pinagdadaanan pa siya. But again, make sure na your presence is made felt pa rin. So, siguro as simple as chatting, 'di ba? Kailangan talaga pag ganyan, one way or another, someone has to initiate the first move and break the ice ng pagiging distant, or else walang mangyayari, 'di ba? So, kung ikaw, if you really value that relationship enough, and 'di ba, we've been talking about making an effort to reach out. So, if you feel like you really want to help that person, then just send in a message and do a simple check-in. Kamusta ka na? Ano nang nangyayari sa'yo? Ganyan, diba? And hopefully, that person would, respond and really open up, diba? So, baka that could help.
Okay, so thank you for that answer, Miss Candice. And of course, thank you for that question, Miss Diane Romani. No? So actually, we have one questions pa no? From Miss Gazelle de Guzman. Sa situation po ni Mitch as a leader, is there any tips how to avoid getting too emotional kapag may shortcomings as a leader? Kasi honestly think po na I see myself as Mitch.
Okay.
Very nice question and insight.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much also for being so open, no, in sharing that you relate to Mitch, no, Miss Gazelle. Can I answer this, Miss Candice? No, charot. Okay. I think
go
if
ahead,
we're
sorry,
gonna go...
nakamute pala ako.
Okay lang. I think going back to the case of Mitch kasi, Mitch was an aggressive leader, right? More than being just emotional, kumbaga mas pinapaira niya kung ano yung gusto niya, she made it a point. Mitch, in our scenario earlier, made it a point that masasaktan yung kanyang members. Kumbaga, she instills fear. That is how she leads her team. So I hope that you are not like that. I believe hindi naman, no? It's more of you being emotional. And what we have to realize is that yes, we are practicing assertive. Yes, we are also developing yung gentleness towards others, diba? Towards our relationships, families, friends, ganyan. But also, diba, yung going back to our foundation, dun pa din tayo babalik na we would like to extend yung gentleness towards others, but also towards ourselves then. So, it's perfectly normal, di ba, in any stressful situation to actually be emotional. What matters is that you get a grasp of yourself, you have this awareness again, you realize that, teka, nagiging emotional na ako as a leader, and then you ask yourself, how could I better assert myself as a leader while still respecting my own beliefs on how it, for example, may project kayo, tapos magli-lead ka, di ba? Parang naiinis ka na kasi hindi sila nakikinig sa'yo. Sabihin natin yan yung problema, right? So, nagiging emotional ka na, nagtataray ka na, ganyan-ganyan, okay? You still think of, wait lang, I would like to lead my group well, I would like to assert myself as a leader, but also, how could I better listen? Paano ba kami makakapag-work better together, 'di ba? So then you apply being an active listener from real, 'di ba? You apply na you listen to your members also. So no worries, 'di ba? I get emotional. To everybody gets emotional, lalo na when you're put in a very stressful position as that of being a leader. So it's really more of knowing na group work yan teamwork yan. So you're not gonna be the most productive group or team there is if you also do not start with, as a leader, check on your members na, okay, so what do you think could we improve on, diba? Ano ba yung suggestions niyo? Basta you breathe. Syempre doon tayo simula, just like for another talk, but you start with just deep calming breath, and then you refocus, di ba? You remind yourself na, teka lang, ano ba yung objective ko as a leader? And that is to lead my team into success. And how do I do that? I do that by being gentle, practicing gentleness, listening. I do that by asserting, but still respecting everyone's opinions. So, I hope that answered the question.
I hope naman, no? So, actually, we have a lot of questions pa. Lanier, nakita mo ba yung ibang question?
Yes, ako. Sige, I'll read po yung kay Michelle de Mayuga. Ayan, sabi niya, Ma'am, is it totally normal na I am not that kind of friend na always chat sa friends? I deep inside na friend ko pa rin sila. Ewan ko po.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, the
Yes,
answer
that's
is yes.
totally normal.
Mm-mm.
Magsabi lang ako, Miss Reese.
Yeah.
Syempre, di ba, as we grow older, as we establish relationships with other people, they get to see the real us, di ba? Kung paano talaga tayo mag-act, ganyan. And, meron, di ba, ang dami nga nagsasabi na parang, iba't iba yung way natin ng pag-show ng, love language, ng
Yes.
pag-express ng affection. And there are really those who would prefer to be at times distant, but they still make sure that their friends know na I'm here for you when you need me. So that's okay if you feel like hindi ka as expressive enough. What's important, I think, is that you communicate that with your friends. Parang you make your friends aware na parang, wait lang ha, meron talagang mga times na minsan hindi ako mag-reach out. Pero that doesn't mean na hindi ako ganyan. So talagang, gentleness pa rin, being accountable na on your end, even if alam mo na hindi ka as expressive, hindi ka as verbal sa pag-express ng affections mo, you still find a different way to show that level of affection. Kasi syempre, at some point you would also have to make an effort, diba, to keep the relationship going, kasi nga relationship would always be two-way, diba, depending on the number of people involved. Talagang it goes both ways. So kailangan on your end, even if you're not as verbal, you find another way as to how you could still make your friends know na you're still there for them. So ayun, if it's not through chat or what, try to figure out ano pa kaya yung ibang ways by which you could make an effort and tell them that you are there for them. But it's nice, no, na you still acknowledge na parang, I know that I'm a good friend. Yun naman yung important, no, na you know deep inside na friend mo pa rin sila. That's also equally important.
Thank you for that answer, Miss Candice. Linya, meron pa ba?
Yes, opo. Ang dami pa. Very active ako audience natin.
Yes, and thank you for participating. Sige, Linya.
I'll read po yung kay Miss Cyril Abella. She said, how can we best be flexible po in terms of using our self-confidence, communication, and relationship with friends? Seemingly nowadays po, even a person who's used to talking with others and approaching people first also get easily burnt out. How can we widely use this well?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so even a person who's used to talking with others. So parang kahit extrovert ka, napapagod ka din. Well, a kind reminder to everybody, you do not have an obligation to always be, talking and talking and talking with. It's, kumbaga, same with earlier, no? Kung pinapractice mo yung respecting boundaries when in terms of towards your friends, diba? Kung nire-respeto mo yung time ng friend mo na gusto niyang may alone time siya, diba? Dapat ikaw din, you make it a statement as well na, oh, friends, kapag ako, ano mo yun, sana magets nyo na may times that I also need my own alone time. Like ako, alam ni Candice yan, ni Miss Candice yan. That kasi usually sila, and like other friends yan, si Sir Andrew, yung mas machika sa GC. Okay. So, I'm lurking, heart react, ganyan, di ba? I mean, you could participate kasi still in the conversation, but not like actively reply lagi and be the core conversation starter, di ba? Kahit nasanay silang ganun ka. So, it's really just, kung hindi ka naman talaga comfortable na to always talk and talk and talk, then don't. And just, communicate again, no? Be real. As in, legit na be real, no? Not the hashtag for this one. Pero talagang be real with yourself. Be true to yourself as well na kesa naman you would be engaging in conversations with your friends na hindi mo naman talaga feel, di ba? Na gusto mo lang magpahinga or just have some quiet time. So, yeah.
Thank you for that answer, Mr. Reese. No? Actually, we have a lot of questions kasi, I was reading a lot of questions here. No, sige, Linya.
Okay. From Cheska Alioso, on friendships po, how do you know if you should stop pursuing a friendship with someone? Example po, that you're friends with someone who is reclusive but you haven't talked in a while. How do you know that you aren't being aggressive in your pursuit of that friendship?
Oh my, controversial.
Yes, para may mga hugot sa mga friends at
Yeah.
for this afternoon, ha?
Well,
Yeah, go Miss Kat.
sige. Okay, I'll try to share my take on this.
Yeah.
Syempre, di ba nga we've been emphasizing about the importance of being accountable sa relationship na despite you respecting the boundaries na nag-reach out ka tas hindi parang you assume na hindi pa ready si friend, ganyan. Meron ka ring personal boundaries for yourself, di ba? So if you feel like while being gentle is a very important thing that you need to practice, especially ngayon, no? If you feel like pag feel mo na parang wait lang, I think I've been giving my all on this relationship and it doesn't get reciprocated, then maybe that's a point of reflection for you na parang wait lang, balikan ko muna, kamusta na ba yung relationship ko dito? What would happen if I continue giving? Kasi syempre, kapag ikaw yung nagbibigay, ikaw yung nag-reach out, mauubos at mauubos ka din, di ba? While we want to be as open, as there as possible, meron din tayong personal boundaries, no, that we have to keep to ourselves. So I think that's a matter of deciding, parang reflecting enough, and it will take you a lot of self-reflection and all that. It's a process really na parang maglo-look back ka sa relationship mo with that person, and syempre titingnan mo din ano ba yung values mo as a person, ano ba yung mga hinahanap mo sa relationship. Does that still meet what you are, parang is what you're getting from the relationship right now still meeting the values that you have in a relationship, the values that you look after in a relationship? If medyo questionable yun, then maybe that's a time to Pero syempre, we try to be, as flexible pa rin as possible. So, just enough self-awareness maybe, kung kailan ba yung enough na, parang ganun. I hope that's not too
Parang
vague.
hugot na hugot din, no?
Yeah.
Actually, a lot of question here is talaga parang mga hugot from own experience, eh. Like question of Mr. Zo Daniel. Ano po pwedeng gawin kapag pakiramdam mo nakikipagplastikan ka na sa kaibigan?
Oh my.
Kasama mo siya sa work or kasama mo siya for 10 years. Pero tagal 10 years friend, pero may ganung issue.
Medyo yun parang malalim yun kasi may history involved.
Yeah. I think related to what Miss Kan said, you would always want, this is something na for the students, parang napaka-ate advice, no? But this is something that you're going to realize as you grow older, for the students at least, no, in relation to that question, na you know how they say, naririnig na natin to na habang tumatanda ka, umuunti or like lumiliit yung circle of friends mo. But it doesn't mean na, alam mo yun, hindi ka na kasi ka-friend or something. Pero it really means na you're just looking after quality relationships. You're looking after quality, genuine relationships na if I make, di ba, real, so if I make this amount of effort, syempre hindi ko expect that you would be giving back this same amount of effort, di ba? Kasi hindi naman tayo business partnership or whatever, di ba? We're friends. But you would also need to look out for yung person ba, alam mo yun, parang willingly din ba siyang nag-reach out and offering his or her support towards you, because at the end of the day, that's the thing that matters. May time and effort ka that you are always willing to give towards your friends na you like, but at the same time yung mga friends mo din towards you, syempre you have to think of, teka lang, hindi naman, ayun na nga, hindi napapantayan, pero natatanggap ko ba yung suporta na deserve ko din, di ba? And that's part of assertiveness, knowing what you deserve as well, di ba? Knowing, again, standing up for your point, your worth, your point of view na talagang, teka lang, parang deserve ko din naman the some reciprocation. Not the same level, but at least, the same dedication of time and effort. So, that, sir, is something that you can ponder and just, think about really a long time. 10 years eh.
Oo,
Opo.
And a friendship kasi took time para maturity, para makipag-communicate. Minsan tatawanan nyo na lang yung mga issue kapag
iba-iba.
Iba-ibang
Iba-iba
ways
ang
tayo.
way.
It depends really, yeah.
And actually, we have a question pa from Meiji Geronimo. Paano po dapat i-approach yung co-worker na laging nakasimangot?
Oh my.
Or sa tuwing kakausapin mo, parang lagi niyang basa ng daigdig. May tinatanong ka lang, laging nakakunot ang lalaki po siya, 30 years old.
May profiling pa.
Oh. So,
psych major siya. Umuunawa naman po ako.
psych, nga. Paano yun? Lagi daw nakasimangot kung kakausapin mo na. I hope hindi naman ako yun. Lagi ako nakasmile.
Ihigit ko nga, ikaw ba to? Maya naman, co-worker mo yan. Okay. Well, pagdating po sa mga ganyang situations, syempre, kung co-worker kasi yung sabi niya, hindi friend, no? So, when it comes to professional relationships, may boundaries din. So, if you are coming from a place of concern na, bakit naman lagi nakasimango to si sir, ganyan, di ba? You check also if you're in the position to like reach out and chika and, offer support, di ba? If not, baka ma-stress ka lang. In my take baka ma-stress ka lang trying to figure out why he's always grumpy at nakasimangot at nakakunot ang noo, 'di ba? If this person or this coworker is your friend, then andito na 'yon, dito pasok yung assertiveness na kamusta ka na ba? But also depending on your style, communication style, and yung relationship nyo din, di ba? Yung friendship mo ba with this coworker is an open one na pwede mong tanungin outright na, uy, anong meron? Napapansin ko lagi ka na lang nakasimangot, ganyan. But yeah, if this is just, some coworker, I believe
out
you have
of your control.
Yeah. Oo.
So actually, we have questions pa rito. What is the proper way to be friend with someone but they don't see you as a friend? So parang nag-effort ka pero
one-sided lang.
Unrequited friendship ba to? Unrequited friendship. Okay.
Well, sige, ako, Miss Reese. Tapos, segundahan mo if meron kang iaano.
Okay.
No, but I think it's similar to what we have said previously, no? Na parang, in a relationship, di ba? When you're building a friendship with someone, two-way yan lagi. Na parang, it's not just always on your end, but also, what you receive from that other person. So, if your question is, but they don't see you as a friend, na parang, the way I'm interpreting it right now is ikaw willing ka to do things for that person but that person's just taking you for granted, walang hindi, kapag ikaw yung may kailangan hindi niya nabibigay yung support that you are willing to give. Ganon yung nagiging interpretation ko. So if iba yung if iba yung gusto mong i-mean, just comment down sa chat para we can give a different answer to that question. But if that's what you meant, then you also ask yourself, parang what am I getting out of this relationship ba? Because if, like what we said, go back to also setting your own boundaries. Aside from respecting the other person's boundaries, you set your own boundaries also. And of course, hindi mo hahayaan na ikaw mismo i-cross over mo yung boundaries mo yun, diba? So if you feel like, you've given so much effort already, so much time and effort and understanding, you've tried to give that person space as much as possible, but you're not getting even a little bit of what you are, even just 10% of what you are willing to give. If you're not getting that, then maybe there's some reflection that needs to be done if that relationship is still serving you well. Kasi syempre, like what we said, merong healthy relationships, merong unhealthy relationships. So baka
Yeah.
naman doon napapunta yon, di ba? So
Mm-mm.
try to think it over and see na, ask yourself, is this still serving me well? Is this type of friendship still healthy for me? Baka
Yes.
naman lalo ka nang nasa-stress kasi kapag ikaw yung may kailangan, hindi ka niya mabigyan. Pero kapag siya, all out ka na mag-support, di ba? So, reflect din. It's not an overnight thing. It's not going to be an overnight thing, but it takes, so much reflecting and questioning to be able to get a clear answer kung ano ba
Yeah.
yung relationship na yun.
Because we definitely cannot give you that answer,
Yeah.
di ba? Sabi po ni Miss Candice and Mr. Reese,
yeah,
and damay ko na po si Sir Andrew tsaka si Miss Lanier, ano daw po, hindi na kita friend. Di ba?
Yeah,
Ganun,
oo.
no?
Ikaw lang ang makakapagsabi din.
Yes, totoo. Siya lang din talaga makakapagsabi. Para kasi may hugot to sa Valentine's no? Parang hindi to friendship. Pero actually, may isang comment din ako nabasa and actually, all of them are thankful with this webinar, most especially sa inyong dalawa. Actually, si Miss Chel, Di Mayuga, sa dami ng inattendan ko pong webinar, this is my most productive webinar. Kasi it really all about you as a person. This is just a wall. Good job, DW. Thank you to our dear speaker for the talk. Actually, may follow-up pa. May
follow-up si Sir Zoe Daniel.
So, follow-up question ko po, yung magkasama kami sa work at doon nagsimula ang friendship namin. Para na kaming magkapatid. Nag-travel abroad, magkatabi sa pagtulog, pag nagbisita ako sa kanya. Kaso lately parang hindi na feel na may consideration man lang sa work at kada araw parang lumalala. Pag kasama ko siya parang malalak sa kanya, ako po ay naiilang. Kaya feeling ko plastic.
Sir, number 1, respect each other's boundaries. So, knowing that you have been, ito si 10 years, right?
Yes.
So knowing that you have been friends for 10 years, you would know if the person is ready to talk to you or not. Number 2, make an effort. No, but really, step by step po ito. Because, timing is key as well when it comes to friendships. This is what we have to realize actually, just an add-on, no? Doesn't matter kung gaano tayo ka-young into a friendship, for example, or ka-old, there would hindi pare-pareho. Walang formula for a perfect friendship kasi. Because all of us have different preferences, di ba? As a friend, iba yung gusto kong treatment sa akin, iba yung, iba yung expectations natin sa isa't isa. And that's why very important for you to listen. Going back to real, no? Very important for you to communicate. Napapansin, ito na yung observations ko, And I actually do not feel comfortable right now with how we are. Can we talk about this? Can you talk about what's happening? Kasi if that is a true friend of yours, I'm pretty sure po na makikinig naman siya sa'yo and you'd be able to, mapaplan siya niyo whatever concern or issue there is. But yeah, hopefully it wouldn't end with you, di ba, FO, ganon. But 10 years.
Communicate po. Very important.
Yes, kung magpag-uusapan or communicate ng maayos, baka or give space lang for a while. Kasi minsan parang nabe-burn. Actually, parang yung comment ka, naalala ko yung kantang burnout. Yung sugar free.
Yeah.
Yes. Diba? Parang minsan kailangan natin.
Sample na Sir Andrew.
Ay, hindi ata pwede dito. So, kapag nag-karaoke, karaoke, band.
Mag-online karaoke din tayo.
Yes. Actually, kwento ang comment ni Miss Diendo, napakahirap po sa sitwasyon na yung friend mo is your coworker. Lalo ng mataas ang position na apektuhan ng work.
That is true. Yeah, that is true. Pero po yan I relate to that because I experienced that when I was working in the industry. And it's true. Pero merong it depends kasi sa inyong dalawa doon sa friendship na yon. But what I can say is that you will be able to find like a harmony of sorts na kahit ako kasi nung time na yun, manager ko, and then we're close. Kasi we had the same interest, the same likes. So parang alam mo yun, it was very easy for her to like see me as a little her, parang ganyan, a younger her. Okay? As compared to my other teammates. So parang I get what you're coming from, Miss Diendo. Yeah, but for sure for you and your friend, no, mahirap po, pero it is possible. It's not impossible to come to parang a settlement of how you would be able to be friends pa rin even if you're workmates. Tapos leadership position yung isa.
So yun. So thank you for that answer, Miss Denise. Wala na bang question? So it looked like we've covered all our questions, and thank you so much to our beloved speakers. Rainier?
Again, thank you for the wonderful presentation. At this moment, please make sure to answer our evaluation form for e-certificates. Kindly scan the QR code for the Google link form. The evaluation link will be closed and will no longer accept responses after February 16, 2022.
So at this moment, I would like to present the Certificate of Appreciation to Miss Therese Marie Araneta, MA, RPM, and Miss Candice De Castro, MA and RPM, for being our resource speaker during the webinar entitled Building Bridges, a Social Skills Webinar Series about Self-Confidence, Effective Communication, and Friendship. Thank you so much.
So, to give us a wrap up for today, let's all have our loving guidance head, Miss Christina Meron.
Thank you so much, Lainier. Firstly, I would like to thank everyone who made this enlightening webinar possible. The Campus Life, ICT and Media Center, my fellow GCTO team members, our dedicated peer facilitators, and our very participative audience, and of course, our dearest guest speakers, Miss Candice and Miss Therese, who shared their time and knowledge on how we can continue to work towards improving ourselves and the way we relate to each other. There is so much to take away from this webinar, such as understanding how important it is for us to have a well-grounded set of social skills, even in this seemingly challenging time. We also learned some practical tips on how to communicate and connect better with other people. And I sincerely hope that as we end this webinar, we will all keep what we learned in our hearts and in our minds and put them into practice, for this will surely help us thrive as we navigate through life. Once again, thank you everyone for being here with us today.
Thank you so much, Miss Teen. Again, please make sure to answer our evaluation form for e-certificates.
And that is for today. We appreciate you being here. We would like to thank everyone who made this seminar series possible. And thanks again for joining us today. For more GCTO and PW peers updates, kindly like our official Facebook page.
Again, I am Andrew Kevin Conor, and together with my co-MC, Lainier De Guzman, see you next time. Join us with our PW hymn, God Bless Us All. Thank you so much.